Hello, I am Maria, and this is Beyond Fluent English. In the last episode, we worked on words for describing situations. You learned to replace big with substantial, bad with unacceptable, nice with remarkable, and hard with demanding. If you used even one of those words this week, you already sound more precise to the people around you. Today, we are staying in the same territory, precise, adult, professional English, but we are moving into a very specific situation: meetings, professional calls, presentations, the kind of English you use when there are other people in the room, colleagues, managers, clients, partners. This matters because meeting language is visible language. Everyone in the room hears you, and the phrases you choose in those moments shape how people see you, whether you sound confident and prepared, or whether you sound like someone still searching for the right words. In every episode of this series, we take words you already use, and we find the more precise fit, the one that says exactly what you mean, not just something close enough. At C1 level, the goal is not just to be understood. The goal is to be precise. And precision means choosing a word that carries the exact weight of the moment, not the nearest available word that will do. That is what C1 sounds like. Not more complicated, just more accurate. The 5 phrases we are working on today are not difficult. You already know them. But there is a version of each one that signals something different to the people listening. Today, we find those versions. You will not just hear these phrases. You will repeat them, and by the end of this episode, they will already feel natural in your mouth. Let us get into it. You are in a meeting. Someone on the team says, "Let us talk about the timeline." Everyone understands. The conversation moves forward. But notice something. That phrase has a casual, open quality to it. It sounds like a suggestion. It sounds like the beginning of a conversation that has not quite started yet. Now compare it to this. I would like to address the timeline. That is a different kind of entrance. The first upgrade today is exactly that one. Instead of "let us talk about," say "I would like to address." The difference is not just formality. "Let us talk about" is an invitation. It says, we are going to have a general conversation about this. "I would like to address" is a statement of intention. It says, I have something specific to say. I am ready to say it, and I am directing the room toward it. When you say, "I would like to address," you signal that what follows is prepared and purposeful. That creates a very specific kind of authority, not the authority of someone who is senior or loud, but the authority of someone who knows exactly why they are in the room. Daniel is presenting a project update. Instead of "let us talk about the schedule," he says, "I would like to address the schedule because there are 2 decisions we need to make before the end of this meeting." The room gives him their full attention, not because the phrase is fancy, because it signals that he has something to say and he is ready to say it. Rachel is on a client call and needs to raise a sensitive topic. Instead of "let us talk about the budget," she says, "I would like to address the budget before we close because I want to make sure we leave today fully aligned." The client hears preparation and care. One thing to know, in a very informal team meeting or a quick one-on-one, "let us talk about" is completely fine. The upgrade earns its place in higher stakes situations, when you want the room to pay attention before you even begin. The second phrase is for a moment that happens in every meeting. Someone asks you something, and you do not have the answer. Most people say, "I don't know." That is honest. There is nothing wrong with it. But in a professional setting, "I don't know" has a small problem. It sounds like the conversation stops there. It offers nothing forward. It is an endpoint. The upgrade is, "I am not certain at this stage." Notice what changes. I am not certain at this stage tells the listener three things at once. You have thought about this, your position is honest, and the situation may still develop. It does not close the door. It holds the question open in a professional way, which is exactly what a meeting needs. Marcus is asked about the revised numbers in a meeting with senior management. Instead of, I don't know, he says, I am not certain at this stage. Let me follow up with the finance team and come back to you by Thursday. That is one sentence, but it turns a moment of uncertainty into a demonstration of professionalism. Layla is in a planning session. A colleague asks about the client's requirements. She says, I am not certain at this stage. We are still waiting on their final confirmation, but I expect to have that by Monday. She is honest, and she is also managing the situation. That combination is very strong. There is one more thing worth noticing. I am not certain at this stage works best when it is followed by an action. I am not certain at this stage, and here is what I will do. That structure, honest position, clear next step, is one of the most reliable patterns in professional communication. The third upgrade today is small, one word replaced by two, but the effect on the listener is surprisingly large. Instead of later, say going forward. Later is a time word. It tells people when. Going forward is a direction word. It tells people that something is about to change, and it is going to change from this point on. It creates a shared movement. It signals commitment. When you say going forward, you are not just scheduling something for the future. You are saying, from this point, we do things this way. That is how policies are created. That is how decisions become real. James is wrapping up a difficult meeting about a process that was not working well. He does not say, later we will handle this differently. He says, going forward, we will confirm all changes in writing before implementation begins. That one phrase turns a conversation into a decision. Sophie is in her annual performance review. Instead of, later I want to focus more on client communication, she says, going forward, I am going to prioritize client communication as my main development area this year. That version sounds self-directed and intentional. It does not just describe a wish, it describes a plan. Later is correct English. Going forward is professional English. The difference is not grammar. It is the signal you send about whether you are thinking clearly about what happens next. Now let us practice together. Repeat each sentence after me. Take the full pause before you move on. I would like to address the timeline before we move on. I would like to address the timeline before we move on. I am not certain at this stage, but I will follow up by Friday. I am not certain at this stage, but I will follow up by Friday. Going forward, all decisions will be confirmed in writing. Going forward, all decisions will be confirmed in writing. The fourth phrase is for a moment that also happens in every meeting, when someone says something and you want to understand it more deeply. Most people ask, can you explain? That question works. It is clear and direct. But in a meeting with colleagues, managers, or clients, there is a version that sounds more engaged, more specific, and more confident. The upgrade is, could you elaborate on that? To elaborate means to develop something, to add more depth, more detail, more context. When you ask, could you elaborate, you are not saying you are confused. You are saying, I heard you, I am interested, and I want to go deeper. It signals active listening, not lost comprehension. Tom is in a strategy meeting. A colleague presents a proposal. Instead of, can you explain what you mean by that? Tom says, could you elaborate on that? Specifically, the part about the first phase deliverables? That question shows he was listening carefully. It shows he wants precision, not just a repeat of what was already said. Anna receives a brief from a new client. Parts of the scope are unclear. Instead of, can you explain this section? She writes in her reply, "Could you elaborate on the expected deliverables for the first phase? I want to make sure our proposal fully reflects your priorities." That is a professional email sentence. It is specific, respectful, and it moves the conversation forward. Context note: "Can you explain" is completely appropriate with close colleagues and in casual conversation. "Could you elaborate" is the phrase for moments when you want to show that you are engaged at a higher level. The fifth and final upgrade today is for agreement. When someone says something and you want to show that you are on the same side. "I agree" is fine. But in a professional meeting, especially when you want to signal that your agreement is considered and strategic, not just polite, there is a phrase that carries more weight. "I am fully aligned with that." Or the shorter version, "I am aligned with that." The word aligned comes from the idea of things pointing in the same direction. When you say, "I am aligned with this approach," you are saying more than yes. You are saying, "My thinking, my priorities, and my goals are moving in the same direction as yours." That is collaboration, not just confirmation. Ben is presenting a proposal to a senior team. After the discussion, a director says, "This looks like the right approach." Ben replies, "I am fully aligned with this direction, and I think it addresses the concerns we raised last quarter." That sentence does two things at once. It agrees, and it adds context. It shows that Ben has been thinking about this beyond today. Nina is on a call with a client, reviewing a revised contract. Instead of, "Yes, I agree with the timeline," she says, "I am aligned with the proposed timeline, and I am confident we can meet those dates." The client hears certainty and ownership. One note: "I agree" is never wrong. Use "I am aligned" when your agreement is not just polite, when it is deliberate and considered, and you want the other person to know that. Let us put all 5 phrases into a single story. Leo is a project manager walking into a difficult client meeting. The project has fallen behind schedule. The client is unhappy. 2 decisions need to be made today. He opens clearly. "I would like to address 2 things: the current timeline and our plan from here." The client asks about the revised budget for the additional work. Leo does not hesitate. He says, "I am not certain at this stage. I want to give you accurate numbers, so let me confirm those with the team and send them to you by Wednesday." He then explains the new process. Going forward, the team will send weekly progress updates every Monday before noon. The client wants to understand one part of the plan better. "Could you elaborate on the resource allocation for Phase 2?" she asks. Leo walks through it clearly and without rushing. At the end, the client says, "This is a solid recovery plan." Leo replies, "I am fully aligned with moving forward on this basis. We are committed to this." Leo closes his notebook. The meeting is over. He did not say anything extraordinary, but every phrase he chose signaled the same thing: "I know what I am doing in this room." Now, a quick challenge. I give you the basic phrase. Think of the upgrade. Then I say it. Instead of, "Let us talk about the budget." The upgrade, "I would like to address the budget." Instead of, "I don't know yet." The upgrade, "I am not certain at this stage." Instead of, "Later we will improve this process." The upgrade, "Going forward we will improve this process." Instead of, "Can you explain that part?" The upgrade, "Could you elaborate on that?" Instead of, "I agree with this direction." The upgrade, "I am fully aligned with this direction." Good. Those 5 phrases are yours now. What these phrases do, and this is worth sitting with for a moment, is not make you sound more formal. They make you sound more deliberate. In a professional meeting, the people who speak with deliberate language get more time, more trust, and more influence. not because they use longer words, but because each phrase signals the same thing. This person knows exactly why they are in this room, and they know exactly what they want to say. In the next episode, we work on the language of change, how advanced speakers describe what shifts, develops, and evolves, and why those choices make such a difference in how your thinking comes across.